So I want to talk to you guys about acquisition position. Both of you guys, I believe, said that you feel qualified for acquisition. I see that you've both done a number of deals for negotiating and closing and for dispoing. So that's a, something that makes me feel like you guys would be qualified. We have had very good success so far with placing people as acquisition or dispo and them being well qualified. One guy with acquisition, he ended up needing to back out because he has a newborn baby and he just needed more time. So with acquisition, you'll have a team of property finders below you, and you'll be responsible for assisting them to help you, bring in these quality deals. So the idea behind this is that the property finders, they act like the top of the funnel. So if there's 100 offers put in, 80% of them won't even want to negotiate, right? Because they'll consider it a low ball offer. They don't understand fix and flipping and whatever. They're not willing, they're not motivated enough to work with us.
Right.
So those property finders do that initial step of the process of weeding out 80% of the people that they, that they actually offer to. Where you guys step in is the next 20% that actually are willing to talk, willing to negotiate. So you'll be negotiating with them and closing those contracts. And then from there, it goes to disposition for them to dispo it. And we'll have a TC, transaction coordinator, transactional lending involved. So, we have our own LLC that would be contracted under. So your job primarily is in the workflow process is negotiating and closing, but it's also to help your team, your property finders or PFs, to be able to be able to provide you with the right offers that you can negotiate and close. Does that make sense?
Makes perfectly good sense. I have some questions, but I think, Al, you can go ahead.
Yeah, and it's probably the same thing you're thinking. So basically, the property finders are dealing with the data as prospects, and once they're warmed up or show definite interest, then we're getting essentially the leads, the warmed up leads.
Close. So what it is they're going on to privy, like in the elephant challenge. Did you guys do that at all or watch that?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't have any idea what that is.
Yeah, I'll just outline the idea behind it. So that's something Pace put together that basically they use privy as the tool to find the properties. It's, you could use Redfin, you could use Zillow, there's other ways to do it. But these are on-market properties that are below market value, typically listed below market value. They're as is, they're, real estate investor friendly type houses. They're not retail ready houses.
Right,
so,
but they are on the MLS?
They are on the MLS.
Okay.
So
okay,
privy, what was that?
That's good. I misunderstood that part. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah,
they've already decided, they've already said, yes, I want to sell. So.
Yeah. So you don't have to convince them to sell. You don't have to wonder if they're going to say yes or no. They've already raised their hand and said, I want to sell. Yeah. And with privy, it has a nice feature that you can do % of ARV. So it's a slider bar and you can tell it only show me properties that are at 70% of ARV. So it'll filter out everything with its algorithm that it sees as higher than 70% of ARV, so that you only see properties that are lower than 70% of ARV. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you instruct the PFs to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically the acquisition manager will be assigned to 6-ish PFs. And he can manage those PFs and put them to work within privy however he wants to. So you'll have your territory You know, every PF or every acquisition manager has his own territory that he's tackling. That way that we don't have an overlap situation where, you know, Mike's PFs are working on the same territory as Al's PFs. And you know that that's your area that you can work. You can tell your PFs that you want to get properties that are 70%, 65%. You want them to search for properties that are 30 days on market, 90 days on market. You know, we want to give you guys a bit of ownership in instructing your PFs how you want them to filter and search. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mike,
it does, but I mean, I'm trying to think this through, right? There's got to be some hard and fast rule where you buy properties, right? You don't want sliding scales on the ARV. So is it 70% of ARV, and then if that doesn't work, you modify it to 80, 85, because then the deal becomes slimmer, right?
Yeah, let me show you what we have set up for them. Give me 1 second.
and I can fill them in a little while you're setting that up, Ralph.
Yeah.
The Elephant Challenge, Mike, only started a couple of months ago, and it's open to everybody. And actually, the latest version of it is coming up, and then I think it starts tomorrow, if I'm correct. The next 3 days. It's probably, you never know with pace, but it's either 2 to 5 hours each day. But you could certainly jump in if you're able to, either live or just catch the replays. The prior versions are available on replay too, and you'd be up to speed in no time. Privy is just a more enhanced, drilled down version of the MLS, which allows you to do even more. It's not fully rolled out uniformly throughout the country, but in certain areas, of which I'm sure Ralph is concentrating, Privy will work fully functionally right alongside the MLS, and it really makes things transparent as far as what looks like a good deal, good potential deal, and what isn't. And the sliding scale is entirely subjective, because as you know, they list things for certain prices, but the motivation and really the need to help the seller is what you're trying to find out about. And then you're dealing with somebody who price isn't always the most important factor. They're not giving the property away, of course, but it's just one of the 4 pillars at that point to negotiate and talk about with the seller as you're building rapport. But of course you do have the agent as the gatekeeper in the deal, so it's a little different from direct to seller.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
I hear
helps.
Pace's name mentioned a few times. This is Pace Morby we're talking about, obviously.
Oh
Yes.
boy, you got to be, Ralph, he's got to be one of the 3 people in the country that doesn't know who Pace Morby is.
I know who Pace is. I've attended conferences with Pace.
Yeah, we like to think Pace,
side by side.
yeah, everybody knows about Pace, but it's not.
But so here's my question. So Pace is a sub 2 guy. So are all these deals sub 2?
No.
Okay.
We're
Good
going
question.
to be adding a sub 2 element to our business model, but we're starting with square one, which is cash deals. And we want to get this off its feet and rolling, and then move into other opportunities such as subject to or seller finance, creative deals.
Okay.
So we're going to build a channel specifically to handle that. But we want to do it one step at a time.
So are we as an organization a wholesaling organization?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mike, you actually asked a great question, because you're right about Pace being sub 2 focused, creative finance focused, but I'm also, in addition to sub 2, I'm astro flipping student. And so I came up originally, I joined that group first under, actually at first it was Josiah Grimes, one of the other partners, but then Jamil Damji took over. And Jamil is, you're correct, he's all about wholesaling and largely direct to agent. They do some direct to seller, but it's mostly direct to agent. And he's the one that got Pace during the summer, this past summer, to consider doing a deeper dive in the wholesaling business, in addition to his main focus on creative deals. So your question is completely on point. That's why pace is sort of backing up or sidestepping over to just straight wholesaling in addition to the whole sub 2 thing. But like Ralph said, the Elephant Challenge is mainly about wholesaling and specifically direct to agent wholesaling,
Okay,
which again is great because the seller has already decided they want to sell. So
right.
I love it.
So looking at this, this is privy here. What I did right now is I set the filter to just show me, well, let me start with sold. Just show me sold listings in a particular area. So I'm in the Dallas market, and the idea behind this is that you can see where a lot of activity is. So it gives you these blue bubbles, and you can see, you know, kind of a feel of, okay, this area has a lot of activity, so let me kind of focus here. The blue bubbles represent potential fix and flip deals. And as you zoom in, it breaks it down. This area looks pretty heavy still. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more to break it down again. And now it'll show me where all of the individual homes that were fixed and flipped are at. And I actually think that I did both. Yeah, I did active and sold. But if you want to see just sold, it'll be in the red. And then you can see, silly thing. You can see what area has a lot of that fix and flip activity. 1 minute here. There we go. So like this area, I kind of like this area. So I would just zoom in there a little bit more until it breaks out the bubbles and shows me individual houses. And at that point, I could either earmark it, like let's say, okay, I want to take this section right here. So then I can go to this little pencil area and say, let me focus in this area. I'm just going to do a random area for now. Okay. Of course, I did that super fast. But now I take that and say, in that area, I want to see the actives, not the sold. And I want to see just fix and flip opportunities. So this is the percent of ARB slider. I'm just going to leave it 75% for the moment. No, I'm going to take it down a little bit just for the fun of it. I'm going to go down to 70. So this shows me within that region which ones are tagged as 70% or lower of ARV. So for example, I see this one is only 550 versus these are already in the M range. So I'm going to go down to that 550 one, which is right here. Take a look at it. So I can see, yeah, it definitely, you know, needs help.
Yeah, to say the least.
Man,
But
I can't
so
believe it's
is
on this
that,
thing.
what is the 550 represent? Is that the sales
List price.
price?
That's the,
List
yeah,
price.
that's the list price, which, you know, this is definitely a higher end market because 550 for this piece of trash. Whew, you know, obviously this is a higher end market that I just picked right now to look at.
So
Let me-
what's, oh, okay, so that looks.
How many
good.
days on market for that one, Ralph? That would be interesting.
Yeah, the 550.
Yeah.
That one is 55 days on market.
Yeah, so obviously overpriced, and the seller's being stubborn. Apparently it doesn't want to accept the reality of the new market and interest rates, but that's a good prospect. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the challenges in our market that I'm kind of steering people away from a gut or a tear down is that the market's on the down curve, right? So if you have a long project, multiple permits, and it's going to be 6 months or something, there's a little bit, buyers are kind of leaving that market for the time being. So it's a little bit harder to dispo those. Not that it's not a good deal. You know, you could probably get this thing down to a point that it was an awesome deal, but that's just my philosophy. And, you know, as a team, we have dispos that they have a market that one dispo has Dallas, one dispo has Jacksonville, one has Atlanta. And if we focus on those same markets and on what the buyers are looking for, the idea is that we're all in correlation. So PFs are working for you, who are working for the dispos, to find the deals that the buyers want, right? So over time, we'll see exactly what the best, it's going to morph too. Like what they're looking for now is not going to be the same thing as what they're looking for in April. But yeah, this could very well be a good deal. And then we teach them to, run basically a ballpark ARV. These are newer people as the property finders. They're not well in depth on figuring out like what's the repair cost going to be on this thing.
Right.
So they're going to ballpark the ARV, they're going to ballpark the repairs, and then come up with an answer. So if you look over here, I have this quick calc for them where they punch in the square foot, and this is a one we ran the numbers for yesterday on the training. 2793 square feet, 399 list price, days on market 59. The ARV for $1 per square foot is 213. So that's the after repair $1 per square foot. With a cosmetic fix, it's not quite a full. Well, in the case of the one we ran, it was actually a basic rehab. So if there's no other major repairs outside of the basic rehab or major cost factors, it will calculate for them everything they need to come up with an ARV of 595 and a max allowable offer of 269 and a first offer that's basically 90% of the max allowable offer. And the idea is that gives you guys room to negotiate, and it gives a margin of error, being as it's a ballpark. We don't want to come out with a ballpark figure that doesn't have a margin of error in it. So the idea behind this is a ballpark offer. It's that way, if they're willing to negotiate, it's handed off to you guys as acquisition managers. And they say, well, we can't do your offer of 242, but we can do 300. And then that will either be by email or they'll just call the PF. The PF is going to submit this through an email that you also are using. So they'll have their own alias with their name on it. You'll have your alias with your name on it, but it'll be a shared inbox. So when they email the listing agent, if the listing agent replies back by email, you'll get it. And then you'll see that reply. So if the reply is, yeah, we can't do 242, but we can do 300, then you guys can dig a little bit deeper into the numbers and make sure, where we need to be, and what the next negotiating counter offer would be at. Maybe it'll be, maybe you can take it up to 269 like this quick calc shows, or maybe once you delve into the numbers more, you can say, we can go a little bit higher than that or whatever, or maybe it will be, we can't even go to 269. Maybe we can only go to 250, but you'll pick up from there because they're simply ballparking it to get the ball rolling, to get those offers out there. They're filling up the top of the funnel. And that way, anybody that responds back, any listing agents that respond back is the next level of the funnel down where you guys can pick up and negotiate.
Okay, and on that first offer, is your margin for error or safety 10 in the 10 to 15% that Pace and Jamil have been talking about? It seems like it's about 10 plus.
So there's different markets, and Lynn Bell is our team manager. She went through the markets and put in the numbers that she felt was appropriate to start with. So, we can't say that Dallas is the same as Jacksonville is the same as Memphis, right?
Right.
Each market might be different. And so those constants are reflected back into these calculators, and they're going to be morphed over time. So Lynn Bell set them up initially, but then the dispo agents or managers, they're going to go in and tweak those over time to fine tune them. So they're always going to be fine tuned, whether it's 10% discount, 15% discount. If we're deep into the recession and it's falling like mad, it might be 20 or 30% discount, right? But the idea is that number is consistently updated depending on the market as in the metro, as well as our timeline with the economy.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
So this is tied in the back end to another spreadsheet with the constants. And when they update that other spreadsheet, it'll update these numbers.
I love the simplicity of this initial spreadsheet. This is, or calculator. This is nice, very quick and easy for them to use.
Yeah, the idea behind this is that we want them to be able to put in, if they're working full time, they can do 20 offers a day. So we don't want them to spend an hour or 2 hours on one property just to find out in the end it's not even, they're not willing to negotiate.
Right.
So top of funnel, just put offers out. And next point is where we actually get into more details.
So the reno type has a fixed number associated with the basic reno.
Yeah. So we have lipstick, which, the overall basic numbers that we started with was $15 for lipstick, 20 for cosmetic, 40 for basic, 60 for gut, 75 for destroyed. But that number is modified for each market and for the timeline. So that, over time, that $15 per square foot, it might change to 20 for lipstick, especially as inflation keeps moving forward. But they'll keep those numbers updated to match for whatever rehab type, renovation type they click into. So if I change this to lipstick, you'll see now that the MAO changed to 350.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Basic, it's 269.
And lipstick is basically
Paint and carpet.
cutting the grass, picking up the trash, whatever, as opposed to cosmetic where you're painting and carpeting perhaps, and a little more substantial.
Yeah, very minor stuff. It might involve a little bit of painting, but maybe not, the whole exterior or something like that.
I did see somewhere where they defined these categories. Where was that? I think it was in the Discord somewhere.
Probably.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah. And, so that you guys understand, we just launched this thing very recently, like a week ago. So it's still, we're finding gaps and closing gaps. One of the gaps is the training of the PFs, trying to pre-qualify them before we turn them loose to you guys, so that you're not stuck with PFs that don't know squat.
Right.
And it's we're still trying to figure that out, but myself and Alex as the owners, Lynn Bell as the team manager, all of our dispos, and Mike Jones as the system admin, we're all on the same page as being aggressive to try to work out these bugs and get, a system flowing where you're making, tons of deals every day. That's the idea, that you guys have a full plate that you can negotiate and close. And then from there, you'll move up if you want to dispo, and then you'll have your own acquisition team underneath you as a dispo. And then from there, move up to team manager, whatever you desire. If you didn't want to do that, no problem. But the idea is that growth path is available so that your team gets bigger and bigger as you move from one level to the next to the next.
So, yeah. So let's talk about the numbers. So let's say we'll take this one for instance. So let's say we do this deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the first offer is 315, 361, and they say, okay, no problem, let's do it. What is the payout for that? How do you structure it?
Let me show you the payout. One second here. Okay, so I'm going to go through this. I'm not sure, Mike, if you saw the introductory meeting for Fat Juicy Deals, but I'll just take you through there and it'll define the payout for you.
Yeah.
So basically the idea behind Fat Juicy Deals is to help people get rolling fast. Because a lot of people coming in, they're lost. They don't know how to move forward. They get analysis paralysis. They're scared and they just don't do anything. So we want to break down the roles into tinier chunks so that everyone can become efficient and skilled at their role much, much faster and produce. And that way everyone can start getting their paychecks and producing and then moving to the next level. So you go from level to level to level to level, and to provide the support of a team. So, acquisition helps out the PFs, dispo helps out acquisition, team manager helps out disposition. Everyone has a support behind them, including our admin support, Mike, that's able to, answer other types of questions that we need answered, and to provide a growth path so that everyone can go from PF to acquisition to manager to team manager, and to get paid well in the process. So, with the Elephant Challenge, there's like 6,000 people now that have registered for that. And it's a little bit chaotic because it's who helps who. A lot of them are out there saying, hey, I need help, and they're not getting answers, or they're, myself and many others have received deals from these people that were involved in the Elephant Challenge, and we analyze it and say, this is not a deal because they did it wrong. They analyzed it wrong. They're in a bad area. That's just not going to work. But basically, there's a lot of holes in that process that we needed to close to make everybody successful in this.
Incidentally, why is it called the Elephant Challenge?
The reason he called it that is because of the saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? The idea is to give them one small bite that they can accomplish, and then the next bite, and then the next bite, and then the next bite.
Okay.
So with this system, what we're trying to do is take those bites out and into a sequential growth path, so that they can start at the beginning of the process and do that bite. And then as soon as they master that, move to the next, move to the next, move to the next. So, some people say, can we make money on the MLS? Yes or no? Well, you can. And here's some of the proofs. Michelle and Paul, they make high 6 to 7 or 7 figures. They travel the world. They use Privy. That is their main tool that they use for getting these deals, which is what we're using too, is Privy. Mahmood, he has 2 methods. He uses Privy, but he also does agent outreach and gets deals directly from agents. So our system is built to do both. So we instruct the PF, you need to talk to the agents, you need to gather intel, but at the same time, you're building rapport. So that when you guys step in as acquisition managers, you continue that rapport building aspect so that you're building an agent referral system at the same time, so they'll send over pocket listings. So we want those direct from MLS offers, as well as building up our agent referral network.
Makes sense.
And then Ryan, he as well uses Privy, and he has an agent referral network as well. He has several layers to his business. He does 1.2 million just in wholesaling, but he does about 6 million in total, which includes fix and flips and a couple other things. So we have basically 4 goals for our company. 1, help the newbies out that are just learning so that they can get into the game. They can make 6 figures fast. but also create a growth path so they can go from property finders to acquisition, to dispo, to team manager. So as a property finder, they should be able to make these are full-time numbers, by the way, not part-time. As a full-time property finder, they should be able to make 100K a year. As an acquisition, 300K. As a disposition, $1 million. As a team manager, 3 million. So each progressive step, you're earning a higher percent, and you're also building a bigger team underneath you to make that happen. So part of the idea behind this is to remove time wasters, like analyzing bad deals that will never be a deal in the end anyway, or that you're not set up to dispo. If you can't dispo it, why are we even bringing it into the system? Remove inefficiencies, overlaps, like 20 people all looking in the same area, all putting in offers for the same area. So we're trying to set up systems to prevent that overlap issue, and then create a quality deal flow all the way down the funnel until it's dispoed out.
Quick question for you. So a bad deal, the likelihood that a property finder might bring you a bad deal is maybe pretty high. So whose job is it to sort whether it's a bad deal or not? Is it acquisitions, obviously?
Yeah. So what we're trying to implement now is a pre-qualification system, so that'll help build that foundation before it actually gets to you. The initial concept was the actual elephant challenge, having them taking the elephant challenge. That was the pre-qualification because they've got that training from PACE, right? But we found that that's not good enough. So even though they've gone through the elephant challenge, many of them are still lost. So we're setting up a system to pre-qualify before they actually come to your team. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be 100% ready, but they'll have a pre-qualification built in so that you can help them work out those bugs, so that, the percent of actual deals that they present improve week by week as they're on your team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to skip ahead to the actual funnel. So the overall layout of the funnel is offers leads to contracts, leads to deals, right? So the ratio is 100 offers should equal 4 contracts, should equal 2 deals. If they're new, if people are unskilled, it might just be 1 deal out of 100. But as the skill level improves, it should be 2 deals out of 100 that we're able to make out of this. So if we put in 10,000 offers as a team, as an entire team, that should lead to 400 contracts, which should lead to 200 deals, which leads to the money. So breaking out the roles for each, down this funnel, the property finder does this first bit of tasks. They review the listings, they build the rapport, they gather the information, they analyze the deal, and they put in the first offer. Next comes acquisition, you guys. So you continue to build that rapport, gather more information from the agent, counter until you come to agreed price, and then sign the contract. And then after it's a contract, escrow, they open escrow, we'll have a transaction coordinator involved. They take care of all that paperwork. Transactional lender involved as well, a gator lender. And then it moves to dispo to find a buyer. And again, the transaction coordinator is making sure all the paperwork is done, and then the payout. Does that make sense? Mike, you're not falling asleep, are you?
I was praying.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Pray for me too.
Praying and meditating.
Hey, Ralph, will we get a copy of this? Because these are great slides to review.
Yeah, I can send you guys a copy. No problem.
Great. Okay, great. Or just the slide deck. Both would be great, but either way.
Yeah. And then the idea behind the offers is that the offer is not meant, as Jerry Norton said, the purpose of making offers is not to get deals, it's to uncover the motivated seller. It's to filter out the 80% that are not motivated. So that's why, you know, the PF is there as an initial filter to get rid of 80% of those listings that are not ready to negotiate and put those 20% into your hands.
Mhm.
So you get that next level of actual working with these that are actually motivated to sell. So down here, here's where the KPI is for the offer. Basically, Jerry and Ryan Solon and Jamil say you can do 5 offers an hour, which is only 12 minutes per offer. I find that a little bit too aggressive of a number. So instead of 12, I said 20 minutes per offer. So that's 3 offers per hour, or 20 offers in 6 hours. So I rounded it to 20 offers in a day. That should be totally doable for a full-time person if they follow my system. And, you know, we're going to be helping them in this certification process so that they can actually accomplish that and do 3 offers an hour, no problem. So here's the layout of how this flows. You know, property finders, there's 3 of them full-time per acquisition, but what we're finding is they're all part-time. So it would be more like 6 per acquisition. They feed those offers into the system. Acquisitions, there's like 3 acquisitions per dispo, and they'll close the deals, send them over to the dispo, and they'll dispo the deals. The team manager is Lynn. She assists the dispos with actually getting them dispoed if they're having challenges, and just making sure the whole team is balanced and productive. Make sense?
Yep,
Now, Mike, we're going to get to the part that you actually asked about.
please. Mhm.
So this is the percent breakdown. The property finders get 11, acquisition get 13, disposition get 15, managers get 17, gators get about 10%. You know, they don't do things by percent. It's more like whatever the EMD is, they basically double that. So doing the math, it ends up about 10%. Transaction coordinator, about 8% of the deal. System admin, 1%. Bookkeeping, accounting, 1%. Operator, 7%. And then the LLC, 17%. So the LLC is owned by myself and Alex, and we're involved in, you know, putting this together as well as growing it. So our idea is to keep growing it so that there's always an influx, which will allow you to move from acquisition to disposition to team manager. That way you have a growth path and you can keep, you know, building your team underneath you.
Right.
Okay.
So when a deal closes, that's when these payouts occur, obviously?
Correct. Mhm. When we get the
What
money
are
from
these?
escrow, we pay out to the team.
Are you seeing that you'll have a need to use Gator lenders for every situation, or EMD, or just when necessary?
Initially, we will definitely have to use it for every situation. Well, when you say when necessary, I'm thinking you mean as opposed to the LLC's funds?
Yeah, and I also just realized, because we're dealing with direct to agent, the EMD will be a little larger than you might get away with direct to seller.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, we want to, if anybody wants to do Gator lending or EMD, I'm sorry, transactional funding within the team, we want to give it to that team first before we go seeking it outside of the
Oh, that's
team.
great. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if Mike's aware, but Gator, well, I know now they call it the Gator method because they renamed it, but that's sort of a sister group to the Elephant Challenge folks. And, you know, it's part of the whole Sub2 universe, as well as Astro and, you know, Jerry Norton and Brent and all of the TTP people.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so it's just another way to potentially profit from a deal as you're helping the deal itself come together.
Yeah.
So 13%, if we're looking at the wholesaling fee, so we're looking at, let's say that it's $20,000. I was looking at that deal that we were looking at earlier. So it's 13% of the wholesaling fee.
correct. So in the case of 20,000, it would be 2,600.
Okay.
So volume is the name of the game.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah, volume, building a team underneath you so that you have that flow of deals.
Yep.
And progression, so that you can go from acquisition to disposition to manager.
Right. And the occasional opportunity to hit a home run, which will be
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah, and you can double up on being a gator lender. So, as an acquisition manager, you'll have your team of property finders, and we want to give the acquisition manager with his team of property finders first dib at the gator lender fund. So if you guys want to gator it yourselves, or any of you guys get first dib. And then after that, it goes to the entire Fat Juicy Deals team. And then after that, we'll go outside our walls to get it funded.
Okay. Where do you plan to find the bulk of the property finders, Ralph? At least initially.
Yeah. So I do a weekly deal or no deal Zoom. And after that Zoom, I invite people in. And we make posts within the free Facebook group, a Creative Finance Facebook group, as well as the Elephant Challenge Discord. So, and then word of mouth as well. So different dispo people within our team and different acquisition people, they're inviting people in as well. So it's through multiple channels, but we get, like this last week, we got, I think, 12 new property finders asking to come in. So
Okay.
right now we have a team of, let me look real quick. Let me change this filter and see exactly how many we have right now. So we're at 63 property finders at this moment. And some of these, I'm sure, will fall away and we'll get new ones in. But the idea is that we improve the quality of these as we move along. So initially, right now we're at a point where we're developing this what do you call it? Like certification process, so that those 63 that are in the system, they'll be certified. They'll go through this initial training, and then they'll be working for you, so that they're a little bit better quality than they have been. And as new people come in, that'll be step one, is before we turn them loose, they'll go through the certification process, and then we'll turn them loose to you. And then you can also guide them and instruct them at that point.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So this is the idea of the growth plan. We don't have an operator in place yet, but each one of these bubbles here would represent a team leader. Underneath each team leader, we have multiple dispos. We might have one dispo specifically for privy, another dispo for FSBO, another for pre-foreclosure, probate, creative finance. And then underneath each of those dispos, they have their team of acquisition and their team of property finders. Make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you've got the funnel flipped here. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are the dispo
Right.
personnel finding their buyers?
So we have some lists already, but they're cold lists. So they're working those lists, but also within Privy. Let me come out of this and show you. There's multiple methods you could use to find buyers, but Privy has a nice methodology of finding them as well. 1 second.
The same thing, Mike, that helps you comp the properties also helps you identify potential buyers right in the very same neighborhood. It's a nice feature of Privy.
Nice.
Okay, so in this case, I'm right back where we're looking at the comparables. If I look at one of these comps in the neighborhood that have been fix and flipped, like this one, I see it stacked. So the 871 is stacked below the 535. That means it was a fix and flip. So they changed its value. They bought it for 535. They sold it for 871. So they increased its value by fixing it and then selling it within 12 months. That's how it qualifies it as a fix and flip. Is, you know, that's one of the factors is it's bought and resold within 12 months. So if you click into this property, this is the fix and flip that's actually in the system. You can scroll down below and you can see the records. So the assessor records shows us who the owner is and all the basically the history of this. Then you can go looking up the seller and seeing, you know, look, it's usually an LLC,
Right.
but you can see. Let me go into mortgage history. Properties. Here we go. So this one, this is the last transaction. The seller was this. The buyer was this. This is the private buyer after it was fixed and flipped. This is the person that actually fixed and flipped it. And then you can see down here, the buyer, this is where they bought the fix and flip. And so you can research these people, get their information, you know, skip trace them and talk to them as a potential buyer because they just did a fix and flip in that neighborhood.
Right.
So there's multiple ways that you can develop a list. And the dispos are also, you know, if they've previously worked that market, they're bringing in their own dispos as well.
Okay, makes sense.
So any other questions about how this works and what your job function would be?
So we're in production right now. Deals are coming into the pipeline.
No, we're supposed to be in production, but the fact is the PFs need more guidance. So we're going to go through that certification process and then we'll be in production.
Is there a go live date for that?
2 weeks ago. We're working aggressively to try to, you know, probably 2 weeks from now is our, you know, when we'll actually have that accomplished. I would love to say tomorrow, but that's not realistic.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Maybe a week, but I don't think so.
What's the best way for us to prepare further, Ralph, for this? I know the Elephant Challenge, which just coincidentally happens to be starting tomorrow, is obviously a good way to do so, but any other steps you recommend?
When we put together this certification process, I would suggest you guys going through it too, and that'll give you insight on how the PFs are trained. Also, we can set you up in Discord. We'll assign you roles, and then from there, you know, you can look around, you can get to know people. You're going to be involved in those meetings. So they have regular meetings on their teams. So a dispo has its own PF team so that he can communicate with you guys and everyone's working in the same direction. So you basically get yourself orientated before the PFs hit the ground running.
Right. I did see with some of those comments that they were saying that the property finders are lacking in these areas. I'm just trying to figure out, I guess the property finders have already been assigned to a team.
Yep. We assign them out and it just didn't flow as we had hoped. So they just need more training, basically.
Okay. All right.
And that I hope you see one of the factors that we both agree, and myself and Alex, is transparentness. We want to be totally transparent with you guys and let you know, like a lot of people, if you go work for them on their team, they'll give you what your percentage are, but they don't tell you where the rest of the percent's going.
Right.
So, we're trying to keep everybody, this is the way I see it. This is for all of us to be able to progress, to have our own team, to have a solid deal flow. Is it where we want it to be yet? No, but I do feel that, within a couple of months, that deal flow will be really solid.
Yep. And I
So
think
the
it's a great
elephant-
way to make sense of all, not negative chaos, but that all the, initial chaos and dust that's being stirred up from the larger group. This is a great way to sort of,
Yeah,
not split away completely, but be off to the side, sort of doing your own thing, but yet inviting other people to join in. But you're taking the best of what Pace and Jamil have put together here, and Benson and Privy and all of that, and you're
Yeah.
really distilling it down to the essentials so that you can make sense of it and do something with it more
Exactly.
quickly and efficiently. Yeah.
right. And people have requested, can we go ahead and start with another methodology like, creative finance or code violations? But I don't want to get too scattered. If you try to do too many things at once, nothing's going to fly.
Right.
I just want to get this one channel flying first and then move to the next.
Right.
First channel being Privy.
Yes. Mhm.
Or direct to
How do I
agent.
get access to that?
Privy is a paid tool. It's $100 a month ish. I don't know if it's 99, but it's basically $100 a month. And
So now I have to add that to my prop stream subscription.
yeah,
I hate that.
That
eventually,
actually, yeah, that's the one requirement, come to think of it, that you need before you can join the Elephant Challenge. Otherwise, it's completely open.
right.
Right.
Yeah. And we eventually want to be able to provide that software for everybody, but we're brand new. We don't have the funds yet, so we can't offer that at this moment. But at some point in time, that's something that we would like to offer.
Okay. So where do you get that? Privy.com?
Yeah, let me send you Pace's link.
Yeah, you want to go under Pace or Jamil or Pace's wife, Laura, because you get an initial discount.
I would hope so.
Isn't it something like getprivynow.com, Ralph? Something like
It
that?
is.
Slash
I'm about to
Pace.
drop it in there. I'm putting it in the chat right now. And then I think you can put in a code as PACE, if I'm not mistaken, to get that extra discount.
Thank you, Al.
Oh, no, that was Ralph.
Well, thank you, Ralph.
You're welcome, Mike. So I'd like to ask you guys real quick what your experience is. I see that you both have done some deals. Can you guys tell me about them, please?
Yeah. Mike? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say I've been wholesaling for quite some time. I'm in a deal now, waiting for a deal to close. So from soup to nuts, right? Acquisition, disposition, right? If I don't have a team built out, right? So I don't have people working for me. I understand the concept, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Mhm.
So I know the mechanics of a wholesale deal, right? I know you have to get it low. There's got to be enough meat on the bone for everybody to eat. And so I've seen the good side and the bad side of that, where you try to play with the numbers and make a deal out of no deal, right? So I mean, I've learned my lesson from that. I know how to talk to people, right? Kind of like the Brent strategy, right? It's just pick up the phone and listen, that, you know, you willing to sell this house, and what can we do here, right? And just have that conversation. Right?
Yeah.
So, I've got years. I'm past the stage fright. Well, still get a little stage fright until I actually start talking to people, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I see you've done in the range of 6 to 20 dispos,
yeah.
and those are
Yeah.
all like through batch. Did you say batch or which tool you using?
Prop stream.
Prop stream.
Yeah.
You doing
But where I am, I have a team. Like typically, most wholesalers, they have like their go-to buyers, right? So I typically just dispo to the guys that I know
Yeah,
pay the most.
that's right, man. That's what
Some
you
are
do.
cheaper than others.
Yeah,
Right? I got guys who are contractors, so they can buy for a little bit more because they're GC in their own deals.
yeah,
Nuances.
yeah. And with our system, we can tell it, before we send it out, like syndicate it out to the list.
Yeah.
We can set flags. So we can set them as our VIP list. We can set their buy box criteria so that it only syndicates it out if it's a buy box match. And then also we can send it out to our VIP list first and then our other list second.
Hmm.
And then, as a dispo, they might call up the VPI after it's syndicated saying, hey, we just sent you this deal. This one would be a good one for you. We'd love to give it to you. But
Right.
kind of like you've got your relationship with these buyers, that's what we want too with our dispo team, is to have that relationship with the buyers. They'll syndicate it first, but we don't want to end up in their junk mail.
Right.
So it's a filtered down syndication and then a personal contact.
Makes sense.
Yeah. What about you, Al?
I'm all in on the direct to agent. I was doing that coincidentally before Privy even came along. Like I was telling Mike, Pace never really focused on wholesaling and never thought about the Elephant Challenge until Jamil. I guess Jamil had done Secret Agent Challenge 1.0 back in December of last year, and then Secret Agent 2.0 earlier this summer. And he must have been talking to Pace the whole time, because soon after, isn't that, Ralph, when Elephant Challenge popped up, was sort of right after 2.0, I believe?
I think it was right after 2.0, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I was, my partner, we're in Massachusetts, and she's a Massachusetts realtor. So we were already doing direct to agent, where she was the buyer's agent, my buyer's agent, and I was the buyer, and or a signs buyer, but we were approaching wholesale deals that way. We had done some direct to seller, some of the TTP stuff, and that strategy. And you got tired of that real quick. But then we decided to leverage her experience and connections as an agent. And my background is as a real estate attorney. So, I've done hundreds of transactions over the years, but as the closing attorney, not as the investor. So,
Okay.
but to start doing them together as a team was very effective. And I don't know if this is one thing you may want to get to at some point, but the way we would approach the direct to agent was with a letter of intent, where we basically gave them a menu of 3, 4, or even 5 different options. Option number 1 being, of course, the lowball cash offer. But then that's how we started to work in the creative options too. Sub-2 or owner financing, lease purchase, novation, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That may be something, you want to introduce down the road, but that was
100%,
effective.
yeah.
Well, most of the time it always came back to the cash offer, but it was a way to show them not only the other options they had, which they generally didn't take advantage of, but it showed them that we were not the average bear. We had more tools in our toolbox than the average, plumber or carpenter coming to their house. And that, I think that definitely helped establish rapport and authority and, confidence that, we knew what we were doing. So,
Yeah.
All right.
and of
I
course,
got a
knowing
hard
agents.
stop in 2 minutes.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So,
But going direct to agent, you know, that was very effective. That helped a lot.
cool. So Mike, real quick before you go, did we get your JV agreement?
Yeah,
Did we?
I sent it.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll double check it. And Al, yours too?
Um, I believe so. Is it something that I would have filled out?
Yeah,
Everything before vacation is kind of a blur, so if you want to
okay.
resend it, I'll do it again if necessary.
Yeah, I'll double check and I'll resend.
Okay.
Mike, you gotta go. Let me just double check real quick for you. I am not seeing yours, Mike. Can you, you have the file still, Mike? Can you just resend it?
Yeah, I
Which
might be
email
able to
did you
even,
send it to, Mike?
I'll tell you right now. Let me just look in my sent folder.
Yeah, I'm not seeing either one of them.
No, it would have come from mgg@310group.com.
Yeah, I just searched for MGG. Let me check for Al's real quick. And yeah, I don't see Al's either. So if you guys could please send them to the harphomesolutions.com. You can either send them to R. McGinnis or you can send it to operations@harphomesolutions.com.
Okay, and again, that would be an email you had sent out with that in?
Yes. Yeah, it's
Okay.
an email I sent out on, hold on one second. It looks like 10/27.
Okay, if it's easy enough, if you want to resend it, otherwise I'll just go back and find it.
Yeah, I can resend it to you guys right now.
Thank you.
You bet. So are you guys both in?
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I'm in.
Cool. Yeah,
Yep.
look forward to working with you guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
your time.
it'll be fun. All of this stuff, like you said, I've always told everybody that wants to get into this business, no matter what area it is, it's not the lack of information, it's that there's way too much, and that's the problem. Trying to
Yeah,
pick a lane or two and stick with it. That's
yeah.
the challenge. So,
That's one thing we've noticed too with, we put several different trainings in the Discord, but it's not specific enough. It's too much. We need to take it down to only what they need and provide it in a step-by-step format.
yeah, that's great. And like, if you do get a chance to send the slides and or this recording, you can definitely rewatch it.
Yeah, I will be doing that for both you guys.
Are you doing this version of the Elephant Challenge, Ralph, or are you,
I don't think I'll have time.
I know it's never convenient.
Yeah, I'm going to be listening in for bits and pieces, but basically it's 4 hours a day for 3 days straight. I'm trying to build this business and there's a lot of tasks on the plate and I just can't put it on hold for that time frame.
Yep. And we all know that 4 can easily turn into 6 or more. So
Yeah. Yeah. Pace.
he's a go-giver. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, gents, I'll resend it. Yeah, I can't find it.
Yeah. No worries. I just resent that email to you. So you should be seeing that in your inbox with the attachment.
Well, no wonder it's sitting in my drafts folder.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Great to meet you, Mike, and good to
Likewise,
talk to you
Al.
again, Ralph.
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. All right. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.